As I mentioned in a previous screencast, sometimes your presenter will be working from a PowerPoint presentation, and oftentimes there are slides within that presentation that might be useful to incorporate in your final video. Here's a presentation that our presenter used, and as I flip through the slides here, I see a couple slides like 5 and 6, maybe 10, that might be useful to incorporate in my final video. To make them available, I'm going to go up to the File menu and select Save as Pictures. I'm going to save it as a TIFF file, and when I click on Save, just that quickly, each slide of the presentation has been saved as a separate file in a folder. And as I hide this here, you can see in my Downloads folder now that I've got all of my slides each as a separate TIFF document, which I can incorporate later on. To incorporate the PowerPoint slides into the video, I need to go back to my editing software, in this case Final Cut Pro 10. I'm in my event library and I've selected Fishbone, and you can see here all the raw footage that I've incorporated. These are all the video clips.
Get you to your root cause. It's just a part of the process that helps you bring.
And some of these takes will be good. Some of them we may have done a couple of times. Some of them are a little too long. I need to take some things out of them. So this is sort of the raw material up here in the event library. Now down at the bottom we have our project library. And I'm going to select New Project. And I'm going to call this one Fishbone Project, just so we can keep it clear. And right now we have sort of a blank palette here in our timeline. Nothing has been selected for incorporation into our final video. So for the purposes of just showing you how to incorporate a PowerPoint slide, I'm going to select a video clip from the event library, drag it down here into the timeline.
So you might be wondering how we use the fishbone in all of our investigations, and if we use them for all investigations or just some.
And you can see here there's a little bit of dead space at the beginning, so I could trim this a little bit, make it start a little bit sooner.
So you might be wondering.
Okay, I like that. And then to incorporate photos or slides or any sort of visual material, there's a couple ways of doing it. If I've imported these things into iPhoto, I can take a look at my iPhoto library and select anything from the library and incorporate it there. Or in this case, since I have not incorporated these slides into the library, I'm just going to go to the desktop, and I think slide 5 is one of the ones that we talked about possibly including. And let's assume that this is the segment where we're going to incorporate that slide. I can just drag that slide on top of the video. And let's take a look at this in a little more detail. And you can see that once the playhead gets to this slide, we will still hear the audio from the person speaking, but we'll see the slide.
All the potentials, and then you will use other tools in addition to that to really identify your root cause. So we use it really as an upfront.
And what you're going to want to be able to do is to move this to the correct spot, and in Final Cut I can just select the entire slide and drag it up and down the timeline and get it to the exact spot I want. If I need to change the duration, as the cursor moves to the edge of the image, you can see it changing, and I can click and drag and make it last a little bit longer or a little bit shorter, so I can get it just the way I like it. What I'll probably do is to right click and add a cross dissolve, which is Command T, And you can see the dissolve here, and again, everything can be adjusted as you can imagine. So now when this slide comes up, it's a nice smooth transition to the slide and out from the slide, and you'll see what it looks like here.
Just a part of the process that helps you brainstorm up front all the potentials, and then you will use other tools in addition to that to really identify your root cause.
Now you'll notice that the slide here is not taking up the entire screen, and this might, I'm going to get rid of the dissolves here for a second. This might be a problem that you'll face as well. I think I could probably live with it the way it looks now, but if you really wanted to take up the full screen, you probably need to do a little more editing. So with the slide selected, I'm going to take a look up here in the top right hand corner, and I have a transform icon that will allow me to stretch the video out, and we're getting a little distortion here, but it's not horrible. I might want to stretch it up a little bit and drag it down. Depending on how your slide is created, you might have a little bit more flexibility on how to get it just the right size so there's not too much distortion, but it will take up the entire screen. And now you'll see that when the slide shows up, it fills the entire screen. Now you notice it's a little bit rough right now because it's still rendering that, but in a couple moments it will be crystal clear as it was in the previous one. So that's how you incorporate PowerPoint slides within your video presentation.